So despite the fears and despite the concerns, you decided to go ahead with this revival. Deacon Turner, what prompted you to do this?
Actually, the man right off to my right, Monsignor Rich, I called him, a little concerned about safety and so forth. And his first response immediately was, if there's any night that the church doors need to be open, it's tonight. So we had planned a revival for 200 or 300 people, and he said, look, if we have a prayer circle of 2 or 3 people, the doors of the church will be open tonight. And thankfully, out of all the places in Baltimore to be, there was true sanctuary in the church. The first night we had 150 people. Last night, despite the curfew, we had closer to 300 people, mostly young people last night. And we're going to do it again tonight, again, despite the curfew. So if there's any night.
What a blessing. Monsignor
Yeah.
Rich, how long did it take you to come to that decision?
It was really never a doubt in my mind. I live at the church, so I knew I was going to be there. And I just knew that, this was a time of prayer. And again, if one person showed up, I would have sat down with them. We would have held hands. We would have prayed for our city. And if 200 people showed up, we would have a revival.
Myron, were you at all concerned about going through with this revival? Did that ever cross your mind?
No, because I believe that there's a reason for everything. And the reason we did the revival is because why put Jesus on hold? Jesus is the reason for the season. That's what I believe anyway.
Okay. And Jihad, do you feel the same way?
Yes. Now that I wanted to say was like, reason why I went through with the revival and went to the revival is because God blessed me with this school, the people around me, and the programs that I'm in. And I just wanted to praise him back, basically.
Amen. Amen to that, young man. How do you both feel about the fact that you are now part of a marker in history? Do you realize that? Has that settled in to your minds right now? That what's going on in your city right now puts you at a very, very specific point, not only in the history of Baltimore, but in the history of the nation. Jihad, I want to start with you. How do you feel?
I feel I got mixed feelings this because me coming up in the community and society, where we were taught to call on people, stuff like that, when stuff wasn't going right or wrong or whatever. But now it's like in my head, I hesitate. I hesitate sometimes. Everybody's not the same, but it's just like one person. If the first impression was not, it's probably the last one you want to get.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. Myron, do you feel the same way? How do you feel about what's happening right now? What do you tell your peers? What do you tell your friends?
I honestly believe that it is a blessing because something had to be done. Justice needed to be served, and I pray that justice will be served before Friday.
Okay, and Deacon Turner, we tend to move on to the next tragedy, it seems, these days. You know, whatever is trending on Twitter and Facebook. How are we going to keep Baltimore relevant? How are we going to keep what's happening there relevant? The changes that you need relevant?
You know, it's interesting to hear you say that because this revival was planned months ago. You know, we talked about how we saw this coming. We didn't see it coming quite this dramatically, but you know, we're here in this city every day when the news media is not. We've been fighting this battle every day when the news media doesn't pay attention. So when something like this flashes up, you know, one thing to understand is that places like St. Bernardine's Catholic Church, our school, St. Francis Academy, have been here for decades. I mean, St. Francis Academy in particular has been here since 1828. So yeah, our original mission was to teach the children of slaves to read the Bible. And back then in Baltimore, that wasn't exactly the friendliest place for us to be either. It was against the law in the slave state of Maryland to do what we were doing. Okay. So we've been fighting this battle literally since slavery, through the Civil War, through the Civil Rights Movement, through two or three, two world wars, Vietnam War. We've been here the whole time, and so we saw this coming.
Yes.
And our hope is that you're right. Once the media attention dies away, that people will know that our kids and our schools are still here fighting that same battle.
And Monsignor Rich, I want you to have the last word in the 30 seconds. We talk about peace, we talk about prayer, we talk about unity. Is anybody listening?
I think lots of people are listening. I think one of the main impressions that's being given is that Baltimore isn't a city of peace and justice, and it is. It truly is. And the residents are concerned. We want justice. We want the answers to what happened, not only to Freddie Gray, but continually throughout time in terms of relationship with law enforcement and neighborhoods. But we also always have wanted peace, and we work for that every day.